And once again, welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, and I am Dr. Michael, and I am your messenger for the day. Oh, isn't this great? So we have been following this book, 365 Days for Richer Living, which was written by Dr. Ernest Holmes and Raymond Charles Barker. And each of these individuals were part of the larger movement that we call New Thought. And it is wonderful that they came together and created this daily affirmation for people to expand and move their life into a greater place. And it's by no accident that after some 54 years that the movement has reached that level of understanding and awareness that it is now time for us to come back together in the unity of one. To be in that place of knowing that it's the principle we teach. And we do it in many locations. And we do it with many preferences. And we do it with many styles. But there is a place for you, and I know that you are here today because this is the place you want to be. Am I not right? Yes. I'm always right. Thank you. So today, the reading, as Roberta mentioned in the practitioner moment, was based around this idea called the law. And as I looked at that, and I thought, this is really, really important. We need to understand what is this universal law. Because I can tell you, guaranteed, each and every one of you is using the law in order to co-create the experience and the condition of your life. Everything that you are bringing forth, you have brought forth by the use of this law. Good, bad, or indifferent, you created it, you brought it forth. And now is the time, if you haven't learned to understand this, now is the time to understand it, because there is something happening in the world. Do you not feel it? Yes. There's a shift happening in the world. I had to be careful about saying there is a shift happening in the world, because I want you to be clear that it's not the other stuff that's going on. It might feel like that. It might look like that. But I promise you, there is something great that is happening in the world. And the quote, the affirmation, the meditation that we used this morning, out of 365 days, my poor book is falling apart, so I just took the page out. His law is written in my heart. Now get over the gender part. God is not gender. She's made that very clear. The law is written in my heart. This is true for each and every one of you. The law is written within your heart. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. There is nothing more you need to do. You are whole, perfect, and complete. You are eternal and immortal. And in some place in the cosmos, out of that divine intelligence, desiring to have experience, individualized itself in the personality known as you, and this is how it has shown up. And it has, out of that magnificent and divine intelligence, determined that because you are an individualized part of that greater whole, that you should have the same nature that that divine intelligence has. You should have the power and the presence to create all that you want and all that you desire. And the only way it could do that was to give you free will, to give you self-choice. If it did not decide that, then it would have made you mechanical. It would have created you in a way that you had no choice. You would have been the perfect being that it is and is expressing through you, and you would just move around as a robot, being that expression of perfect bliss. Everything in the world would be wonderful. In fact, we probably wouldn't even be in the world because there would be no need for experience. Do you begin to understand how this is working? The divine intelligence wanted experience. It wanted to have this opportunity. And so it has created the individualized personality of me and you and all of us in order to be this. And it has said, be the magnificence of who you are. Be the magnificence of who you are. Have you reached that level of your complete and total and absolute divine magnificence? I think not. I think there's room to grow. I think there is more that can be brought forth, and that's why there's shift in the world. Because we haven't expressed ourselves in that magnificence and that beauty and that abundance and that wisdom and that truth that we are. Here's what Ernest Holmes said. Because my whole being is the life of God in me, I have nothing to fear. The life of God in me, I have nothing to fear. I went into fear last night. Anybody else have that experience sometime in the most recent past? Yeah. But it says right here, the life of God in me, I have nothing to fear. Well, if that's true, then why did I go into this place of fear? You want to know what my fear was? Yes. Yeah. Oh, okay. I had no idea what I was going to say this morning. I'm like, oh. 2 weeks ago, I had a real mystical experience, and I've been trying to recreate that ever since. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do this week? How do you bring yourself to that level of consciousness and then come back week after week after week and try to recreate it? So that was my fear. So I kind of like stepped down into my smaller self. See, it's much more friendly down here. I was told yesterday that someone found me intimidating. And I was like, good Lord. Me? Do any of you find me intimidating? No. Oh, okay. If you did, there are practitioners available. There is nothing to fear. There is nothing to fear. This little Tigger inside of me is just about the capacity to love and be loved. Yes, I know I have a great deal of self-confidence. Yes, I know that I was quite successful for 20 years in running a foster home for children with a budget of over $1.25 million. Yes, I know that I do this work and this principle every day, all day, and I move through all of my stuff in each and every moment in order for me to be here, to be in that place, to be in that consciousness, to be in the presence that says,